Well, after coming back from Sweden, all I could think about was, well, one, that I needed to lose some weight, because you guys were pretty brutal about the state of my man tits in that video, but also about the fact that I'd never had any custom rods, despite being in the industry that I've been in for so long and fishing for 15 years or so. I've never thought about getting some custom rods that are designed and bespoke built for me. Now, in my armoury, of course, I've got quite a lot of kit. I've got some 9-foot scopes for smaller venues. I've got 12-foot 3¼ rods for slightly larger venues. But the one thing I don't have in my armoury are some out and out distance casting rods. So I already knew that that's the sort of area I want to go down. And that's when Gary gave me the opportunity to go from start to finish building my own custom rods. I'm very excited about this video. This is being filmed at the very end of it all, so I know what's happened. But we're going to go back to when I chatted to Gary about what I wanted and spec wise, then to the rod build, and then finishing it off with actually testing them. Let's get into it. So I've got Gary on the other end of this Google Meets, and I'm not going to bore you with the setup process of any of these Zoom calls. It's always a pain in the arse, but we're here now, and you already know what I roughly want, but I have no idea what I'm going to need to actually achieve the rods I'm after. So go.
Yeah, yeah, so we discussed, you said you want distance rods. So if I give you a screen share here, Joe, if you can see on the American Tackle website here, obviously, you know, we've got all the rod blanks and everything. So if we go to the rod blanks, and very soon we're just going to click on the 𝘃𝗵𝗶𝗀 blanks. This shows you the different models. If you want some, there's lots of different models here, and you want to be looking down the bottom of this 13-foot section. Now, the blanks I think would be best for you would be either the 13-foot 3½, or the 13-foot 375. You did say, you know, you're worried about compressing the blank, and you're not looking for sort of ultimate extreme distance. So I would recommend the 13-foot 3½. It's a very capable blank. In the right hands, a lead will definitely go over 150 yards when needed, but you know, it's not going to be like the 13-foot 375, which predominantly needs heavier weights and faster hand speed because it's a stiffer rod. You need to compress it, whereas the 13-foot 3½, is more forgiving, really nice to play fish on. In all fairness, you'll be surprised when you catch a fish on it. It feels lovely, but it's still got a lot of power down deep. So that's the blank I would recommend for you, the 𝘃𝗵𝗶𝗀 13-foot 3½.
Yeah, perfect. And then if I go for those blanks, is there like a set of guides that go with it, or is that still an option as well?
Not really a set or anything, but I mean, you can choose. So, you know, if we were to look at, you know, guides and things like that, so you go to the products, you go to rod guides. The guides I would recommend would be the Tie-Forged Airs like these, or the Vortex Air. This is a bit of a more modern guide, the Tie-Forged Air, so you've got that forward lean, anti-wrap style to it. Those style guides, they're very lightweight, very durable. That's the sort of guide that I would personally recommend for these rods. Distance fishing, you're probably going to want a 50mm butt guide to a 16mm tip. That would be the ones. If you did want to go for the Vortex Airs, it's the more V-frame style, as we call it, as you can see in the pictures here. Again, no ceramic, very lightweight, 50mm to a 16mm tip. So have a look at those two. That's what I would do, Joe. Perfect.
And all the actual components aside, I can also customize this. Am I free reign and put anything on it, or is there limitations to that as well?
Well, obviously, you know that you've got the reel seat to think about, haven't you? The reel seat, you know, you want to be looking at spinning seats, for example, like this 18B comfort finish, the carbon fiber seat. That's a really nice one there. That's the one I would look at if I was you. It's low key, which you've told me what you like. It's black, which you've told me what you like, or what you want, and it's got the carbon fiber finish to match the rod. And then with your sort of detailing and stuff that you said you wanted. You can choose anything really. I mean, the thread, you can choose the color of the thread, you can choose the detailing and the metallics. Some people choose color combinations to match sort of, you know, football teams, maybe flags from where they come from, maybe just a favorite color they think looks good, even to match their bobbins and alarms, you know. And then, you know, you can also have different things written on the rod. You could have really long text written up the rod if you want, or you can just have a small nickname, maybe. Some people just have sort of like 1, 2, 3. Some people have all sorts of different things, their favorite car name on them. I don't know. But yeah, football team's another one. You know, some people have logos, flags, banners, all sorts of things. So you can really experiment with that. It's just to talk to the rod builder that you're going to choose.
And rod builders, how do I find who's going to stock this stuff, or where do I go? Is it on the site, or?
Yeah, so we have our dealer list, so you can go in there and you can see all the different people. You can find dealers if you click on that one there, and it will go across, you know, the whole world, and it will show you, if you go on the map here, the different people all around Europe like this. So you can use that. In the UK, you've got some real Europe, so you've got really good builders. Check out pages like, you know, on Instagram and Facebook, like Cotswolds Rods, Clayton Customs, Orm Customs, you know, maybe Deadhead in Germany, True Customs in Sweden, you know, 𝘃𝗵𝗶𝗀, another sort of rod builder in the UK. There's many, I can't name them all, but just Google it, have a look. They've all got their own style, they've all got their own build ideas, and you can sort of maybe take some screenshots and then show the builder sort of what you're thinking and what you want. Get ready, because it's a lot of fun. Let's put it that way.
Well, I'm imagining it's going to be a bit of a minefield going through and picking exactly what I want, which we'll probably carry on doing whilst I turn the cameras off, because I'm not going to bore you to death with all of that. But it's very exciting for me, and hopefully the next time you see me will be at some point in the rod build stage and maybe getting my hands on my new custom rods.
Good luck, Joe, and I look forward to seeing him on the bank when I come over at Christmas.
Sounds good.
Yeah, take care, mate.
Ta-da.
Cheers.
Look at that pairing. Oh, that is absolutely filthy. Proper naughty.
What are you looking at?
Rods.
Not rods again. Go to sleep.
Well, there's been a bit of time between me choosing all the different components and the actual rods are going to go with for this build, and finally got the build date, and that's why Tom has invited me down today to see him just finishing them off. Now, he's already done a bit of work on the rods. He's upstairs working away on them at the moment, so hopefully you'll enjoy this as much as I will. I'll probably enjoy it slightly more than you guys will, because these are going to be my rods, but there's a few little touches that I haven't told you about that are going to be finished off on these rods to make them just very unique to me, and things that are very personal to me, that are going to make these rods one of a kind. And hopefully, well, I doubt we'll see any other rods on the bank that have the sort of little touches that I'm going to have. So let's head upstairs now and see how he's getting on. First of all, thank you for having me up here once again.
Thanks for coming over, Joe.
I've been here once before when you were doing odd other bits, but this one's a bit more exciting for me.
Yep.
Because these are going to be my rods, aren't they?
These are going to be your new babies, Joe, these ones.
It's quite nice seeing, I know you've laid out beautifully, I've got some nice shots of it. It's nice seeing all the components that I've picked with you on the phone, seeing them in person, and we'll sort of go through them each for why we've gone for them, starting with the blanks.
Of course.
And as you know, I've gone for the 13-foot 3.5s because I don't have an out-and-out distance set of rods, so I thought I'd go for that. And so we've got the first thing we notice is just how thin they look for something that's quite beefy. So
you've gone for the Aatrix models. Obviously, yeah, nice and skinny. Obviously, look super smart. They've got the 1K finish right to the tip. Interesting on your blank choice. Obviously, with the 13-footers, it's going to give you easy distance.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's two models in the Aatrix range. There's the 13-foot 3.5 and the 3.75.
Which I knew I wouldn't compress.
Yeah, so obviously perfect choice of those 3.5s. You can pick them up. If you're a half decent caster, they'll add yards to your cast easily. So good choice.
The eyes we've gone for the tie forged airs, aren't they?
Yep. So you've gone for the 50mm set of the American Tackle tie forged air guides. So they are super light. That's obviously your first. As soon as you pick them up, you think there's nothing to them. But yeah, they're great. Nice and flexible where they need to be between the feet, but as soon as you put them on the rod, they're really sturdy. Yeah. And then we go through to your other choices here.
Yes, so the real seaters, we want to keep things quite lightweight again, so there's nothing to them as well, really, is there? Yeah. And they're quite understated again.
So which is the 1K carbon fibre rail seats, the black hoods. So the carbon fibre nose exactly matches the blanks on the Aatrix. Yeah. So they look really smart when they're together, as we're going to see shortly. Let's get building, shall we?
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing these come together. Right, so I jumped the gun a bit there. We needed to measure out my arm first. Now, to talk me through, it looks fairly
so all I've done here, Joe, is I've got some measurements on a bit of masking tape here, and we're just going to measure you up, and I'm just going to mark off where feels perfect for you for the back of the seat to sit. And then
what is the base point? What's this distance already?
So the base point, basically, this is 500mm, which is a measurement we often use. That suits someone that's usually about 5'9", and then we're just going to go up slightly or down slightly. This will be your range here, but 10mm, 20mm, 30mm makes a huge difference on how the rod are cast for you. So if you're having custom rods, it's essentially, you might as well get them perfect.
Yeah. So, where do you want me to balance that up?
So if you hold the grip exactly as you'd hold it, so what we're looking for, like a tennis racket, so you hold it firmly there so you get the most out of the rod. We're going to just miss your chest in there.
So we are going up further.
Come down. I'm just going to manhandle you around a little bit. There we go. We don't want to be too far. We want to wear as comfy because you're overstretched a little there. Just going to push that down.
Yeah.
I'll go to there. How does that feel?
Yeah, I was going to say, because my arm like that was a bit too much.
Yeah,
so.
you said you like your arms bent slightly.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But that should give you the most manoeuvrability out of the rod.
Right, yeah.
You can pass it in front of your body. And when you're casting, you'll come in, give it a good thump, pull in hard with your left hand. And that's where you're going to end up there.
I'm trying hard not to. I can see all the gouge marks in the ceiling. I try not to put the rod through the roof.
Often we do it outside, but that should be lovely for you then.
Perfect.
Okay, Jim. I'll make a little note of that. Okay. And that's what we'll build them to.
Lovely.
Nice one. Thanks, Joe.
Right, now we can get cracking.
Yeah. So we're just going to put these the front EVA cones on and the front collars. Won't take long at all though. They're all very, very snug fit. It's one of the great things. When I first started rod building, you had to make everything. Everything was, you could buy it in 12mm like internal bore, and you have to bore them out, and it ended up a bit ski-whiff. Whereas these days you can get everything to be the perfect fit, especially for the Atrix blanks. It's, as well as saving a lot of time, it's just a better quality. There's no mill out here or mill out there. It all just works well together. I'm just putting a bit of glue under these for each out. We're going to get this little collar. Sit on the front of the seat. There we go. Give you a lovely transition down to the blank. A little dab of glue. This one. When we're making the rods, there's lots of measurements all the time to make sure the sets match, and you got the guides are in the right place, the handles are in the right place, your thread works perfectly matched across the set. It's important. I think that's what sets the pro builders apart as well, is that they have an eye for detail.
Just a quick question: does the thread make much of a difference other than aesthetics?
Oh yeah, the thread is. When you're whipping the guides on, it's a really structural part of the build of the rod. There's loads of different threads you can use. We use a very strong thread called Pro Wrap. It's just blemish free, but yeah, in terms of holding the guides on, it's the perfect material. It soaks through when we add the finish. The finish soaks through the thread and bonds the guide to the rod as well. And when you take this guide off, for instance, all these little tunnels will be full of resin, so it gives you a really good bond and makes them a bit stronger. The speed of putting the guides on is all in the prep of the guides as well. Before we came this morning, I've really ground all the guides down nicely on the grinder. I think it does make a huge difference in the preparation. Okay. Okay, so now we're on to the graphic area of the rod, the little part just in front of the reel seat. Often my favourite area to do because we had a little bit of detail in. So we'll do the little transition. There we go. And we're going to trim these off with a bit of cherry red colouring. I spoke with Joe about how much colour or what colours to go for, but the colour corresponds to something close to his heart. So
I think everyone's going to realise when the graphic goes on in a minute.
Yeah, we're going to make it quite bold. So we're going to do 4 turns of colour. So 3, 4. And because it's a flat colour, it really stands out. It's not metallic, this one. So it pops, and they're really underused. They're just working to my marks again. So I'll pull through. Get 4 turns again. Always through the fishing rod you need symmetry, so if you do 4 turns of colour somewhere around the graphic, you need 4 turns the other side. Always keep them level. And pop these on, burnish them up, put them nice and tight. Alright, have some graphics.
Great photo for this one, and it's a good job I'm here today, because if it wasn't, I may have ended up with the wrong side of Bristol. So you're about to realise why I've chosen this. If you didn't know already, everyone that follows me on my Instagram already knows, because I post every single time I go to a game. I'm a Bristol City fan, so we had to get some of that in there. That's why we got the red whippings. Then we're going to have a white robin.
A little white robin to go on the top. So get that central. How's that look, Joe?
It's looking banging.
Yeah. Let's press him on now. That's a good thing about custom rods. You can have anything you like, or as little as you like. Lots of people have them super plain, which is perfect too. There we go. That's on there. We're going to put a little graphic on the underside as well. Let's pop one of those out. A bit tricky to see being white.
That looks really smart.
Yeah,
it's come out better than I was picturing as well.
Yeah, they often do. It's hard to imagine it sometimes. That's,
yeah.
You know, especially having the rods, but it's good to come and see them in the flesh as we do them. There we go. I'm just going to pop this one on the underside to let you know what the rods are. That's the American Tackle Atrex. It's the Atrex 13-foot 3.5. So that little graphic will sit in there. And then when we clear coat these sticker lines, they'll all disappear. They'll be perfectly blended in. Use a real high quality graphics paper. Just trim those up. Look. There we go. And that is going to look great once we close those up.
That looks so cool.
Yeah, nice one.
Thank you very much. Right, other two.
Cool. So we're just going to get your butt guys lined up, Joe. Use a little tool in the reel seat to look down the rod. Make sure they're perfectly central. Just a little bit of adjustment needed on this one. Stick my eye in. Yeah, looking good. Looking really good. Okay, on to the last stage now, Joe. We're going to get some finish on these rods of yours and make them look amazing. It's the bit that has to be really perfect. It's the bit you see first when you pick the rods up. So we take a lot of time and a lot of care on this. So with the finish, when we first put it on, want it as thin as possible, so it really soaks in and fills in all the voids, takes out all the air, and it will give you a really good bond in the guide, and the thread and the blank. You can see it now, just all the little air bubbles coming in and out. Important to fill all the tunnels. Every time you want the best finish, every time. So we're going to let that soak in nicely. Get some on here. And then for the top coat, we use it a little bit thicker. We build it up to get that perfect finish. So it looks like glass.
Final bit then, like baking a cake.
Yep.
And how long does this process take? So this is going to be tomorrow?
They need 4 hours until they're touch dry. Ideally, you want to leave them 12 hours to get super hard so you can flatten them and polish them. But yeah, we'll finish up there. When we come back in the morning, they'll be ready to fish with, Joe.
Lovely. Well, it's the morning. I'm back. See if I can spin. Now I've already popped upstairs just to put a mic on Tom, but I haven't actually seen the rods yet, so this is going to be the first time I'm looking at them. Now the varnish should be all set. I don't know what stage we're at. Oh, we're over here.
Morning, Joe.
Morning. I've told everyone you've already got a mic on, but that's as much.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I've got to work now. I'm just putting the finishing touches to the last one of your rods. So I've been through them. They're looking really, really good. I'm just putting the last of the butt caps in. Finishing touch before we give them a little polish.
What's this then?
They're just over here in front of me.
Oh, that's not it, is it?
No, no, that's another lucky customer. Just here, look. So they're just setting off now with the butt caps. I'm just doing this last one.
That gloss looks really good.
Yeah, they'll look even better in a minute when we give them a good polish.
Nice.
Final touches. There we go. Get some plenty of glue. You're going for the pointed caps, so it's really smart in the back, in black.
Well, here they are, the final product. I've just been obviously filming you polishing them all up. Want to get my hands on them. They look incredible. I'm really, really impressed by how they've come out.
Hopefully you like them, Joe.
Of course. That Robin just really pops with the colour.
Yeah, nice choice. Oh, nice choice.
I thought it looked good when you did the whippings yesterday before you even put the varnish on. I was already happy with how it looked, but that just really makes it pop, doesn't it?
Gives it that glassy look. Obviously finishes it off. It makes it really durable too. Yeah,
lovely.
Nice choice. Nice and light. It should be perfectly fitted for you. Get the most out of them. You get your reel on there. That'll feel good. Obviously, all that's left, Joe, is to go and use them.
I know, that's the thing. Like, I'm feeling a bit almost like I need to cherish these, put them behind a glass box. But of course, like you've been saying the whole way through, these are tools. Just because they look nice doesn't mean I can't use them. Yeah, look after them a little bit. Obviously, down the line, give them a clean once in a while. But yeah, don't be afraid to use them properly. You buy them as a distance rod, so go and put some distance into them. Thank you very much.
Strap your reels on.
Got to find a venue to fish now.
Yeah, with some water left in it.
Thank you very much.
There you go, Joe. Thank you, juice.
Thank you very much.
Have a trophy shot like a cup.
Right, I'm going to go and try not to break these. I know I won't, but try and compress them more like.
Yeah, you can get some practice in. Nice.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Good to see you again.
Cheers again, Joe.
Sure, I can see you again soon. Thank you very much. Well, I couldn't leave the video there. I had to give these rods a bit of a test before I actually went fishing. So I went to a lake minutes down the road from Cotswolds Rods and gave them a bit of a blast with a bare lead. So here is how I got on with my initial casts. Wow. Definitely tell these are distance rods and perfectly designed for me. That handle length is perfect. So it's all well and good casting a bare lead, those sort of distances, and I'm sure if I stayed there for the afternoon and practice, I'd get further and further and really enjoy it. But I actually want to use these as fishing rods, not just out and out distance rods, but rather than go straight to a 300-acre reservoir where I'd still be out of my depth before I got used to these rods, I thought I'd come somewhere I'm rather familiar with. I've come up to 𝘃𝗶𝗀𝗲 today, so big thanks to them for letting me on, because this is a rather last minute trip. I just want to see what these perform like at an easy range, so I can still use them on venues this sort of size, and also see what they're like to actually play a fish. So I'm hoping I get a few bites today. I'm here just for the day, and it's just gone about 20 past, 8:30 in the morning. So I've got a few hours, got to be off mid-afternoon, so hopefully get a few bites. Trusty solid bag setup, so I'm going to be casting weight probably around the 4-ounce mark. So it's the sort of weights I will be casting with these. And just, yeah, there's fish rolling already out there. So I'm going to get these out. I fished this swim only a couple of weeks ago. I know the distances I want to fish at. Another one just boshed. So I'm hoping that we'll get some quick bites, see how these actually perform, and just see what these look like on my rest, because they were beautiful in the shop, and I'm sure they're going to look even better set up 3 next to each other on my rests. So let's get them out, get the rods out, hopefully have some fish today. So now it's the time for first ever cast out with these rods. Put a little bit of liquid into these bags, and of course solid bags the way forward. What else would I be doing? So casting weight, you're probably looking about 4 and a bit ounces there. So the sort of weight I'll normally be casting. One down. Didn't take long. Absolute one toner in the rain. And we're in. Hoping it's gone over those rods. It took quite a bit of line. Right. I'm getting absolutely soaked, but hopefully I can bring that around the camera. You can see it's not like it's just the tip. It's bending all the way down to the reel section. Obviously it's stiffer than my 12 foots. That's exactly what I went for, but I'm not feeling like this is overgun. This fish could be anything from, I don't know, £10 to 20 odd, but at the moment it's giving up a good scrap. I'm not feeling like I'm beasting it in. It's actually really progressive, and look, it's nodding back. I know I say the word progressive a lot, but you really want it to be like that. It's not like there's a flat spot in the rod. So I'm not feeling at the moment like it's overgun. The next test is going to be when it gets towards the margin, because I'm going to have to play it. Obviously it's a much stiffer rod, and that's when it's going to be making lunges in the margin. But hopefully it's all going to be good. It feels like the tip has got enough give in it. To not be an issue, but I'm using short hook links, little sort of 4-inch hook links, size 6 hooks. And I'm not dropping the lead, so that's got the 3-ounce lead swinging around just above it, because you come to venues like this, you don't need to drop them because there's not really any snags or anything, but also if you did, it would cost you more in leads than it would the day ticket. So that's why I'm not ditching the lead. So this is where it's going to be a bit of a test, is when it's lunging under the rod tips, but it seems to be doing okay. Softening all of those lunges. Come on. One more. And he's in. First bite on the new rods. First one landed. Kiss the robin. Very welcome. And that's a nice looking mirror. Right, as I'm going to tie up a spare one, let him rest. I've got a spare net. Get the rod back out, and then we'll have a look at the fish. Hopefully that's a sign of a good session to come, because those rods have been out 15 minutes. Brilliant. Well, I haven't had time to get the other rod back out. That fish is still in the net, and the left-hand rod's gone out. I haven't put any bait out yet other than the solid bags with some 𝘃𝗶𝗀𝗲 squid syrup in them. This one feels all right as well. I'm feeling every single bit of the fight as well. It's not like there's no feel. And I think from what, I think from what Tom was saying, is the way that they mount the reel seat and everything, with filling it in with those bits of masking tape and then filling all those holes with glue, is that the reel seat is really connected to the rod. So even all the way down to the butt section, you feel every single little lunge. I can feel everything that fish is doing, despite it being a stiffer rod. It feels lovely. Oh, I'm so happy. Like, now I know that they cast really well, because I've given that a test up at the water park. I can play a fish. These aren't big fish. I think that one actually might scrape 20, the first one I've had. But again, this one feels all right. So it shows that I can bring them to venues like this. And although 19 raps is no distance at all for these rods, it's nice to know that if I came here and it was howling wind pushing into me and that, I'd have absolutely no issues with hitting those distances. Because it's not all about distance, it's about the control of the cast and all sorts. Oh, he's starting to go some now down the margin. Whoa. Hey. Oh, 2 fish in as many minutes. This one isn't as big, so I'm just gonna unhook this one, slip him back, show you the first one, then get 2 rods back out. Whew, it's always mad when I come here. Good fun. What a mad, I'd say 12 minutes, I think, from first bite to the last. Oh, well, I'd say I got the fish in, then it was a couple of minutes, next rod. Got the fish in, a couple of minutes, next rod. So yeah, probably total 15 minutes after the rod's been out for 10. Now this is the first bite, which I completely overestimated when I went in the net. It's not a 20 at all. It's probably around the 17 mark. It's still very welcome once it chills out. This one's been resting while I landed the other 2, so you might be a little bit wriggly on the mat. Yeah, not quite as big as I first thought, but still very welcome. Upper double, 3 bites in a quick succession is absolutely incredible. It just shows that even though they're 13 foot 3.5s, you can still come to a venue this size catch fish of this size as well, and then you're not overgunned. So that's just testament to how versatile they are. Despite them being proper tools and sort of distance casting rods, you can still play fish of this size, feel everything in the fight, and not feel like you're bullying them in. Sweet. Get this one back. I've got to wrap up all 3 rods, redo all the PB bags, ping them back out, and if this is anything to go by, it's going to be a very manic morning, let alone a day session. Happy days. Let's get him back. That's a bite. That's a bite. Now I know that by wearing this coat, I probably look like a floating head, and now it looks like a floating head with a floating fish. But this, believe it or not, was a massive test for those rods. If I'd lost this fish, I definitely would have said it was a late record. It absolutely beasted me around the swim. Really slow plods, good long runs. It's come up as about the same size as the first fish, probably upper double. So very welcome, and I've actually just been plagued for the last couple of hours by what must be last year's spawn that have grown on, and their eyes definitely bigger than their belly, and I gotta say these are just a little bit too pokey for them. But I just put a slightly bigger hook bait on, went a little bit further out because there's clearly a shoal of these little things around, and this one's gone off in the middle of an absolute downpour. So thank you for that, mate. But really good fun testing these rods out and properly christening them with water as well at the moment. Right, let's get him back, get the rod back out and get back in the shelter. This one absolutely melted off once again. All of the bites from the actual decent sized fish have been absolute one-toners. And hopefully that angle is showing you a bit more of how this rod is bending. It's pretty progressive, and as you can see, it's all the way down to the butt section. And of course, there's stacks of reserves in here, but it's showing lots more. Caught on that bite, I squashed a bug. Lovely. I'm fishing out a bit further than 19 now, probably 22-ish. The fish seem to push out further, so I've put the bags out up to 22. And I'll start getting bites again from the slightly larger fish. When I say larger, I mean not the few ounces that I have been catching with eyes bigger than their belly. You can certainly tell when you hook an average size fish in here rather than one of last year's spawn. Now, camera angles don't always show compression that well, and I did have he's off again, a quick look on the angle I just had. It probably wasn't the best, but trying to film it on your own is pretty difficult. But I can assure you this is bending all the way down to the butt. Obviously it's fairly straight here, but this fish is beasting me in the margin, and from my angle it's a lovely curve in the rod, and every lunge is being cushioned. And I know I keep saying the same thing, but that's my biggest concern with getting beefier rods, was that it wouldn't absorb those lunges and be soft enough when you need it to be. But this will be fish number 5, and 5 landed. Don't want to jinx it, but I think he's nearly ready. And he's it. Happy days. Oh, another mid-double. Very, very welcome. They've all been good fun. And the bites I've been getting off these have been insane. Yeah, give them around the 16 mark. Very welcome. Sweet. Right, one more bag and then I'm gonna go. Well, after completely overestimating that first fish of the day, saying it was a 20, this one actually is. It's got the width to it that the other one didn't, and it's a little bit bigger. So that one bag I said I'd left, that was what this was on. And that is it. I'm gonna call it quits there. End on a good one. Get him out and show you, and then head on home. But thoroughly christened these rods. Very happy. Well, as the sun's decided to show its face, I thought I'd get this one out in the sun. And it's actually quite a chunky one. Not weighty, but really thick. The wrist is really thick on it. It's probably around the 23, 24 mark. I might actually weigh this after putting him back. How am I going to weigh it after putting him back? I'm leaving that in. My brain's frazzled. So after I filmed it, I'll weigh it and just see exactly how much he is. But yeah, I'm guessing around the 23 mark, so I'll let you know in the end piece. We're very, very happy with that. 5 or 6 fish now, I think, or that might be 6. And it's only about 2, half 2, and I got here just after 8 this morning, so good day session. Time to crank the rods in. I'm not going to make any more bags. The rain's finally stopped. I've got a window to pack down, so very welcome. Slipping back, head on home, a happy man. Ah, I got a wet sock full of silty water. That's deeper than I thought. Lovely. Well, I said 23, 24, and at 23.8, I'd say my guesstimation is pretty bang on. He's ready to go back. Covered in silt, the margins are disgusting. But off he goes. State of me. Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed making it. And of course, I've got some lovely rods now at my disposal. I know this place isn't exactly what these are designed for, but now I've got a basis to work from. I've got a feel for them. I can really step up to bigger waters, get used to them. And I've now got the equipment to actually get me to the distances that fish might be at on bigger waters. Thoroughly enjoyed today though. Hope you've enjoyed this little end piece of actually putting them to the test. A big thanks to American Tackle and of course Tom Pollard at Cotswolds Rods for building them. It's yeah, very special set of rods now. I've kissed the robin on my first fish and I forgot to do it on the rest actually, but maybe that's something I'll do in the future with bigger fish as well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon. My legs are nearly gone from crouching in that position. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you haven't already, and follow us on all the different social media platforms if you want. I'm going home. Oh, I made it this far without getting silty, soggy socks. And now I've got it for the drive home. Absolute bliss. Oh, it's so squelchy.